Oh, this video is definitely gonna upset some of you. Shots will be fired. There are 20 TASCAM Portastudio cassette models, and today I'm gonna be reviewing all of them, from best to worst. And no, the 244 is not number one. This list is based on 5 categories that I'll be scoring from 1 to 5. How does it sound? What can it do? How is it to use? How does it feel? And is it worth the price? Now, some quick disclaimers. This is gonna be a mix of art and science. Some of these categories can be subjective. Opinions on the sound, the features, and the value are definitely debatable. You are more than welcome to attack me in the comments, but at the same time, I haven't seen anyone else do a Portastudio tier list, so you're welcome. I'm also going to be combining some variants where the differences aren't significant, say between the Mark I and the Mark II. And there are a few models that I'm not going to be covering, the MIDI Studio series and the God tier 388, because technically those don't bear the Portastudio name. Let's get started and see what survives to S tier. Starting with the TASCAM Porta 03, Mark I, and Mark II. The result is a machine that's pretty minimalist and not in a good way. It doesn't have any EQ or pitch control. I mean, that's like serving me a cheeseburger without the cheese in the bun. I will give it some aesthetic props though, because I do think they look cool, but these are definitely going in D tier. Up next, we have the TASCAM Porta 02. This one is tough to recommend for a lot of the similar reasons to the 03. No EQ, no pitch control, very limited functionality. And they changed the style to match the blue models like the 414 Mark II. But to be honest, I like the look of the 03 series a lot more. It does get a high mark on workflow, and that's because it's so simple. There's really nothing to think about aside from panning and levels. Up next, we have the TASCAM MFP01. And oh boy, I know some guy named Randy in Ohio is probably about to type in all caps as we speak because he recorded his Screamo band on this in the early 2000s. But it's pretty sad that TASCAM decided to make their last official release this one and end on such a low note. If all you want to do is throw an idea on tape as quickly as possible, it definitely works. But the problem is that almost everything that makes Portastudio special is missing here. It has minimal routing, minimal flexibility, really minimal everything. This really isn't a recording studio. It's more like a sketchpad. And honestly, that's fine. But we're ranking Portastudios, not sketchpads. D tier. The TAC 144 is one that probably shouldn't be on this list because it's not technically a Portastudio. TASCAM did not adopt that name until 1982 with the release of the 244, but I'm including it because it's really the one that started it all. It was the first prosumer multi-track cassette recorder offered to the public. This one sounds good and it shares a similar aesthetic to the 244, but it's missing a lot of the EQ magic and the better transport that the 244 has. And if you watch that shitty Bruce Springsteen movie, this one actually made a cameo in a couple of scenes.
How's that sound?
Looks about right.
Never been a huge Bruce guy, so he can keep this one. C tier. The TASCAM Porta 05 and 07 I'm combining together. These look like some Fisher-Price bullshit. I know that sounds mean, but nobody really likes these. They're sort of just there, and they sit awkwardly between the super stripped down models and the more serious Portastudios that we're gonna talk about later. These can absolutely make music and get the job done, but every time I see one, I just think to myself, man, I miss going to Toys R Us as a kid. These are both C tier. The TASCAM 488 Mark I. 8 tracks was a pretty insane concept in 1991. And honestly, the older I get, the more I appreciate what TASCAM was trying to do, but I absolutely despise the workflow on this one. It's super confusing to use. I particularly hate how there's not a dedicated tape cue section. You actually have to switch the knobs at the very top between mix and cue, something I always forget to do and always end up either overriding something or having to restart. So I can't really put this one higher than B tier, even though it does have a rich set of features. Sorry. The TASCAM Porta One doesn't have a huge feature set. It also looks like the Toys R Us version of the 244, but overall it sounds pretty good and it's laid out logically. I'm really not a fan of the EQs, both how they sound and tactically the way they feel. And I don't like the pitch control being a slider versus a knob or the mechanical tape transport. This one is fine, but I really can't put it any higher compared to the others. Going in B tier. The TASCAM 414 Mark I and Mark II. Controversially, I'm going to be talking about these together. The Mark II has gotten incredibly popular, mainly due to that reverb video with Alessandro Cortini from the 9 Inch Nails, where he showed us how to make ambient tape loops. And suddenly everybody thought that they were a tape loop artist, which just jacked up the prices on the Mark II. They're both definitely good machines, and I really do like the smaller footprint, but to me, there's really not that much difference between the Mark I and the Mark II, other than the colors and the dedicated guitar jack on the Mark II, which I've talked about a little bit, and that's definitely cool. So why are these only B tier? Well, once you start comparing these to the later models, you realize just how much TASCAM improved the formula, so gotta stick them in B tier. The TASCAM 424 Mark I. This one has blown up mainly because it's the model McGee uses as a guitar preamp. And aesthetically, I also love the way the Mark I looks. I just think it looks so clean and straightforward. I'm probably gonna get some flack for ranking this one middle of the pack because I know it has loyal followers, but I gotta look at the big picture here. It's going in B tier. The TASCAM Porta Two. We're back at Toys R Us, except this one is a big improvement from the previous generation. This one is basically a Kirkland version of the 246. It has way more flexible routing and extra channels compared to the Porta One, but still I don't love the knobs or the EQs as much as the ones on some of these other models, but this one's still going A tier. It's pretty solid. The TASCAM 488 Mark II. This is where the 8-track concept really became perfected. This machine is laid out so much better than the Mark I. We finally have a dedicated tape cue section, we have XLRs, we have phantom power. The sound doesn't have the same vibe as some of the 4-track models, but overall, this one is still super, super solid. A tier. The TASCAM 464. This one's kind of like that nerdy girl you knew in high school who you didn't really pay attention to, but you realize underneath the glasses and the messy hair, there was a beautiful soul in there. The 464 tends to be more affordable and packs a serious punch compared to its competition. It's got your XLR inputs, flexible routing, and so much more. It doesn't have the legendary status of some of the others, but it has definitely earned its place A tier. The TASCAM 424 Mark II, a hipster's dream. And don't get me wrong, the Mark II is a solid machine, and a lot of people are convinced it has its own special sound, but I'm not sure I'm drinking that Kool-Aid or PBR. You get a much better mixer, sweepable mids, better connectivity, and substantially more sophisticated transport and punch-in features. And most importantly, it still has that classic TASCAM sound. It's not quite the Mark III, but it's pretty damn close, sticking this one in A tier. The TASCAM 424 Mark III. If I was being held in a North Korean prison and was told I had to make a cassette banger in under an hour or I'd be sentenced to 30 years of hard labor, the 424 Mark III is definitely the machine that I would choose. It's just ridiculously well-rounded. It has almost everything you could realistically want from a 4-track Portastudio. It's refined without being overwhelming, and it just is such a pleasure to use. And unlike some of the older machines on this list, you don't feel like you're constantly finding the hardware. Definitely going in S tier. The TASCAM 244, this is the one that turned recording at home into a whole new thing, and it's where the lineup starts becoming legendary. And the sound is a huge part of that. The saturation, compression, overall glue are the sound that people are still trying to recreate today. And even though there's not a whole lot of advanced features, the workflow is still very intuitive. It's definitely not the most advanced machine here, and I have to ding it slightly on reliability and the complexity of repairs because they are kind of a pain in the ass to fix, but I want to dive natural causes, so this one definitely has to be S tier. If the 244 and the 424 Mark III met at a club, got a little tipsy and went home together, their child would be the TASCAM 246. It's really a perfect trait blend of both of them. You have 6 inputs, a much more sophisticated mixer, more routing, and way more flexibility. And somehow it still has the character that makes the 244 so desirable. It's more rare, it's more capable, and it's arguably the most complete Portastudio on this lineup. So yes, I'm giving the 246 at the top spot, but the gap between these two machines is tiny. So that's my ranking. It's time to blast me in the comments. Let me know what I got right, what I got wrong, And I also have to say that while some are stronger than others, if you're interested in getting into cassette recording, there really is not a bad Portastudio. If the Porta Two is what you can afford, then dive in and go for it. If you're an investment banker who just got laid off and you're moving to Brooklyn to start an indie rock outfit, then maybe you should splurge on a 246. The best Portastudio isn't necessarily the one with the most features. It's the one that makes you want to hit record. Thanks for watching. I'm ready for the comments.